Hey up, it's Steve from that old Yorkshire Geek, and it's time for Season 2 of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. It has begun airing on Paramount Plus around the world. Episode 1 of Season 2 is called The Broken Circle, which has, a variety of meanings. 'Cause in good old Star Trek, fashion, they used to have an A story and a B story. They don't really have that in this episode, but Broken Circle has a double meaning, and as in the family, the Enterprise family has been broken up a little bit, and the Broken Circle refers to a group of people in this episode. So there we go. So let's get on with the review. By the way, I really enjoyed it. There'll be full spoilers, by the way, in this review. We're going to go through it in a series of stills. So we begin in the usual fashion. Let's make sure where we're going. Yes, we are. We're off. With the Star Trek Cinematic Universe logo. Obviously, in this one, we're seeing the Enterprise, USS Enterprise, Constitution class, the Kurtzman version, which is still a nice-looking ship. But according to Akiva Goldsman, we're going to start looking more like the original series as this goes on. But I bet it done. I bet it's lying. Right, so let's move on. Here we go. Day. Star Trek. There we go. We know it's a CBS Studios production. We have a previously, well, it's the last season on Star Trek Strange New Worlds that we learn about Una being Illyrian, which is, I find confusing, to be honest, these Illyrians, because we saw them in Enterprise, and they look completely different. Never said anything about genetic engineering, but apparently Una is one of the same species. So has she genetically engineered herself to look human? God knows. I don't know. I think they've just made a mistake and just called them after an alien race that already existed, and nobody's brought them up on charges. So we learn about that and her arrest. We also learn about Spock losing control of his emotions. Remember in the Gorn episode last season, to combat them, he had to release his emotions, get angry and stuff. And then when Hemmer died, he released his emotions on a bulkhead, and let's say Christine Chapel came and consoled him. So we learn that there's a connection between them, even though that wasn't really explored in the original series. Apart from Christine Chapel was obviously enamoured with Spock, but it would never reciprocated. Although not openly, Spock always did say, you kind of got the feeling he liked Christine Chapel, but he was always trying to keep his emotions in check, wasn't he? What else? There's Una being arrested. By the way, see if it shows this. Let me. I've gone too far. I noticed this on the replay. I didn't notice it at the time. Let's see what happens when they're beaming Una out. What's going on with this guard behind her? Hey, what's he looking up for? Him there. Hang on, can you see? You see my mouse pointer? Hang on, let me. You see my mouse pointer? What's he looking up at? I've no idea. They said they're beaming you up, so it's like, oh, I'll look up. What an idiot. Anyway, so there we go. Right, so off we go. So we're at Starbase 1. I always thought Starbase 1 were at Earth, but obviously this is around Jupiter. I think it is. So I was assuming this was Jupiter Station, but apparently it's Starbase 1. The one with all the forests and stuff. Enterprise is there in a refit. We see all these shuttles and ships flying about, apparently haphazardly. It must be a nightmare for space traffic control. Oh yes, it is around Jupiter. Look, there it is. There's the gas giant itself, and these domes. These must be huge, mustn't they? These domes. They've got mountains in and stuff. And I'm like, what? Which, I'm thinking is this too advanced for 23rd century, Earth? It's the way I felt about, that Yorktown station in Star Trek Beyond. I thought, this is beyond like Federation technology. It's too big. But anyway, whatever. Anyway, so here we go. There we see the Enterprise at Space Dock with one of these ones, what we saw in the very first episode. And I forgot what it is. It would either... Is it a Peregrine? It would either USS Peregrine, or it's a Peregrine class. I can't remember. The one that Una took to that planet, made first contact with, and all that. It's one of those, isn't it? And there's a good old shuttlecraft 5. It's got on the side. I don't know what name that one is. I can't remember. Is it the Galileo? I can't remember. There were others as well, weren't there? Anyway, here's the Enterprise. As you can see, she's in space dock. Is that their panels open there? I don't know. Is that always like that? I can't remember. Anyway, so off we go. When it's ready. There we go. Moving around the ship. It's all very nice. Oh, there's another one there. Look, another starship in space dock. Slightly different design. That's got its nacelles down there. Look. So is this like a Reliant class? Not Reliant. Miranda class. Could be. I'm not sure what that is there. You see my mouse, but yes, I can. But there we go. Anything else while we're at it that I'm looking at? Kind of reminiscent of Star Wars, isn't it? You know, when they're going into the Death Star. Should see stormtroopers walking about. Anyway. Right, so we're at a table with lots of admirals. And they're talking about... there we go. They're talking about Una. And Christopher Pike, you know, he wants to fight her corner. As we'll see. So that's what they're talking about. And they say, no, she broke the rules, basically. Which she did. But anyway. Here he's on a phone call with Una. She must get one phone call a day, maybe. I don't know. Remember, she's in prison. And she's been trying to contact a lawyer, I suppose. Did they have lawyers? I don't know. 'Cause apparently, all the lawyers were killed in the 21st century, weren't they? According to Q. But anyway, her representation, her defence. But apparently they can't get through to her, whoever this person is. She's not taking calls. I think she said she. But this person lives at the other side of the quadrant. And so Pike is going to go off and find this person, persuade them and bring her back to represent Una at her hearing. Which I thought were going to be the first episode, but it's not. I think it's the second one. So he's going to do that. So that's what they're deciding there. And he says to her, you know, something like, you know, it's not your fault or something like that, you know, the situation she's in. But she'd earlier just admitted that, you know, I broke the rules. I said it was a different species. She must have passed herself off as human or something, but she's Illyrian. As I said, we saw him before in Enterprise. It was an episode where Archer, the Enterprise NX-01, were badly damaged in season 3 by the Xindi, and they had to go and get a warp core, steal the warp core basically from these Illyrians. So that's what they did. But they looked totally different. You know, they had head ridges and stuff. You know, that stuff stuck to the head in good old Michael Westmore fashion. Obviously, she doesn't look like that. Right, so he's going to go off and he's packing a bag. He's heading out in a shuttle, one of the newer shuttles, whatever they are, to go find this defence attorney. I don't know. Is it going to move? Come on, off you go. There we go. So he's leaving Spock in charge, because remember, Una was the previous first officer. Now it moves, it's Spock now. Lieutenant Spock is now in command of the Enterprise, while Pike's away. He's going to be away a few days, apparently. It's like 2 days across, you know, to get across the quadrant in one of the new shuttles. I never knew that in 23rd century the shuttles were warp capable. I didn't know they were. But anyway, maybe some of them are. But they all seem to be, don't they, in Kurtzman Trek. But anyway, never mind. I'm not complaining. Because I've got to be honest, I'm really enjoying Star Trek at the moment. And it's Kurtzman Trek, and it blows my mind that I'm enjoying Kurtzman Trek. Anyway, and I'm defending it as well from the likes of Robert My Burnett, who hate it with a vengeance. I don't know why. And, you know, Gary from Nerdrotic and Az and all these people that hate it just because it is. Anyway, so there's Spock. He's nervous, as we can see. He goes to sickbay. Dr. Mabenga. I'm going to call him Mabenga. Everybody calls him Mbenga. But to me, it'll always be Mabenga. Or should I just call him Joe, because that's his name. He's giving Spock a once-over, and apparently he's suffering from stress. because this is where we learn, well, we knew anyway, but that Vulcan emotions are stronger than human emotions, which is why they have to suppress them. And the setup, M'Benga tells us that the setup, internal, emotional blocks and stuff, and psychological blocks. But when Spock had to release his emotions to deal with the Gorn last season, he got rid of those blocks as well. I don't know why I can't just re-establish them. I don't know. Maybe he can. Maybe it takes time. I don't know. But he's still struggling with his emotions. That's what they're trying to say. So M'Benga comes up with the idea, and I'd never noticed, to be honest. Hang on, I've gone too far. So let's go back a bit. He goes into his back room. Oh, there we go. Anyway, he brings out the Vulcan harp, or is it a Vulcan lyre? Lyre, not you bloody liar. His Vulcan harp, and gives it to Spock. And so I didn't know he got it from M'Benga. I thought he just always had it. But I'd never noticed it. We'd seen his quarters in last season. I'd never noticed if it were there in his quarters. We'd seen him play it, obviously, in the original series. And he obviously knows how to play it, because he starts, don't play Stairway to Heaven or out like that. But off he goes. So there we go. And as he's playing, his heart rate starts dropping and stuff. So, obviously music soothes the savage beast, even the Vulcan heart. But then they're interrupted. And he's saying, your heartbeat is dropping. And they're interrupted by the lovely Jess Bush as Nurse Christine Chapel. I'll be saying that a lot, by the way, the lovely, because everybody, well, the women anyway, in this series are lovely. So there. And I'm a misogynist, apparently, by pointing that out. So in she comes, and his heart rate immediately goes up. So obviously they're setting up that, obviously Spock's attracted to Christine Chapel as well, obviously. And how can he not be? But anyway. But there she is, and she's saying, I've come back on duty. By the way, I forgot, the Enterprise is in space dock, undergoing a refit, and it's got an engineering crew led by Commander Pellier, who we're going to meet in a bit, going over, the ship and checking it all out, checking the systems and stuff. And a lot of the crew are away on shore leave because of this, so it's like a skeleton crew on board. But anyway, so she's saying, I'm back on duty, and Spock excuses himself, takes his harp with him. So we go to the bridge, and this engineering chap, the different, obviously, the badges, it's still the Enterprise logo. Remember, in this era, supposedly, other ships had different designs for their badges. Obviously, he's got an Enterprise one there, but we did see in the original series that sometimes, the Starfleet Delta, was used by other ships as well. But anyway, but there's also got this, like, it's got like a bit of a dark background. So does that mean his space dock, is something special into? Anyway, he's complaining a little bit that she's Lieutenant Ortegas, Melissa Navia. I'll say the lovely Melissa Navia. If she had longer hair, I'd mean it. I don't like women that shave the head. Sorry, it's just a foible. Lieutenant Ortegas, who's the helms person, she changed around, the settings on the console, and he's making note of that. And she says, "Well, it works for me." And he says, he basically says, well, you should change them back. And then another one of these engineers wants to go in and shut down all communications to doing like a diagnostics on it. And the lovely Ensign Uhura, Celia Rose Gooding, the lovely Celia Rose Gooding, let's get out of the way. Grow your hair, woman. Uhura's supposed to have lovely long hair. Anyway, that she ties up. Anyway, he wants to shut all communications down, and to do these diagnostics. And she says, "Well, no, because that'll shut everything down." And he says, "Well, what does it matter? We're in space dock." And as we find out, it does matter, because she receives a signal shortly. But he says, "Okay, then just let me set up, secondary communications, while you shut the main comms down." So she does that. And she tells him off as well. She tells him off. She says, you know, this is my station. I'm on duty. So you'll do as I say. Can you just wait? And all the others look at her approvingly. I have no idea who this is, but she features majorly in the episode. I should really look her up, shouldn't I? So just let me check and find out who this is. I've no idea her name. This might go off, by the way, while I check. It might not. I don't know. No, it hasn't. Right. So, cast. Recurring guests. No, it's not in there. I'm going to have to check on IMDb. Star Trek Season 2 at IMDb. Let's have a look. Just to find out who the hell this woman is. Oh, there you go. She's, I don't know what rank she is. I haven't seen her stripes. But she's Jenna Mitchell, played by Rong Fu. So there we go, I think. Yes, yes, it is, yes. By the way, the computer voice, I don't remember hearing a computer voice, is played by Alex Capp. You'd think that... anyway, never mind. I'm just checking for others that we may know. There's a Klingon later on. So I want to see if it mentions him. No, I'm going to have to go to all cast and crew. It looked familiar, this Klingon that we see at the end. By the way, the Klingon's in this episode. No, it doesn't say. What they said that for? He's not in it. And she ain't in it either. Sorry, I'm just pointing. On IMDb, they've got T'Pring and James T. Kirk, but they're not in this episode. No, I can't see it. I thought... I mean, it might be uncredited for all I know. But I thought that... anyway, never mind. That this Klingon we see later, I thought it was the fellow that played Martok, whose name I've forgotten. It'll come to me. I thought it was him, because it kind of reminds me of him. But anyway, so Jenna Mitchell, she related to Gary Mitchell? Probably not. They're all looking approvingly slightly at Uhura, throwing her weight around, newly promoted Uhura, and this is where she's picking up a signal that apparently was aimed directly at the Enterprise. So she goes to see Mr. Spock, who's technically Captain Spock at the moment. So she goes to see him, and she tells him that they've received a signal. She's got it on a pad. They've received a signal, and you know, it's important, and it's from La'an, Noonien Singh. If you remember, I forgot to point this out. Last season, they found that young girl on the Gorn episode, which were like aliens. This was the newt of this. She found that young girl, and she decided to take a leave of absence while they went and found her parents. So she's done that. She's gone to find their parents, but she's sending a signal to the Enterprise, a distress signal. She's calling for help, specifically asking for the Enterprise to help. And she says, you know, it's Federation, and there's danger, and there's Federation risking danger going on. We found out why shortly. Spock says, "Well, couldn't you have called me on the communicate or whatever?" And she says, "No, comms is down for these engineering people." So, internal comms is down as well. So he gets on to Admiral Robert April. Remember, he was the former captain of the Enterprise before Pike. Now he's an admiral. And he basically forbids Spock to go and investigate. It's from this planet that I can't remember the name of. Hang on, let me see if I can find out. You know what I'm like. Does it say? Doesn't bloody say, does it? Anyway, they're going to go to this planet, and it's like on the edge of Klingon space. It must like border on Klingon and Federation space, because it's a rich in dilithium, and apparently since the war, the Federation and the Klingons have been like sharing the dilithium on it. So they're like 6 months of the year, or whatever the year is, half of the year it's under Klingon control, and the other half it's under Federation control, or something along those lines. So they share the governorship of the planet. And at the moment, the Klingons are in control, and they say if a Federation ship turns up, a starship turns up, it'll be like an act of war. because it's under Klingon control. So he forbids them from going. And she says in a month it'll reverse back to Federation control. You know, she'll have to wait until then. She'll have to manage for a month. And obviously Spock's not happy about that. So he does it's a bit like Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock. This is The Search for La'an. It's him telling him not to go. The answer is no. I am therefore going anyway. So this is where the Hatcher plan is this the ready room? You know, Pike's quarters. I've no idea. The Hatcher plan. There she is, Jenna. Is she going to be in it more? Oh, what stripes has she got? Is it Lieutenant stripes? Confusing with these. He's got Commander stripes as Dr. Mabenga. She's got no stripes because she's an ensign. I'm sure they've got. Is Christine Chapel? Is she a commander? I don't bloody know. I can't work out the way they've done these. They look to have 2 stripes, and 2 stripes is commander. 1 stripe is lieutenant. A thick stripe and a thin stripe is a lieutenant commander. 2 stripes is a lieutenant, and 2 thick stripes and a thin stripe is captain. But they seem to have, I don't know, I can't work them out. In the original series, it was a bit more easy to, you know, fathom it out. It was the thin stripe that they have here, what a broken stripe. But anyway, whatever. I'm babbling. So they're in here concocting this plan. They're basically going to steal the Enterprise, and that's how the this before the credits, the pre-credits thing ends. Spock says, "We are going to steal the Enterprise," and I had a massive smile on my face, and actually I had tears in my eyes because I don't know why. It was just joyous. And then we start with the credits. You know, the space, the final frontier. I'm not sure about them using that. I've always said that. I'm not sure about them using that phrase. See, I always imagined it was Captain Kirk that came out with that. You know, that opening title monologue. But now we learn that it wasn't the first because Captain Pike said it. So did he steal it from Captain Pike, or Captain Pike learned it from Admiral Robert April? Don't know. Anyway, so we see the opening credits, which is cool. I love these opening titles. Enterprise looks gorgeous, mostly. Some of the scenes I don't like. That's quite nice. Where the shields are being impacted by you know, debris and rocks and ice and stuff. But there's some of them I'm not keen on. Like I said, these look. This is like Starbase. One of the bloody mountains under the dome. How big are these domes? Anyway. I've gone too far. Never mind. There's some others. Oh, never mind. I've gone too far. There's some others that I don't like them. See if I can find one. Right. Move forward. There, that one. I don't like that one. It's like the Enterprise, a teeny tiny little Enterprise flying through a forest. It looks daft. It looks daft to me. And that one as well. The Enterprise, you know, flying over a landscape with a huge building in the background. I don't like that either because the Enterprise, you know, it's a spaceship, not an atmospheric one. Anyway. Right, so off we go. Directed by Chris Fisher. Never heard of him. Right, so they've got to find out a way to get all the engineering crew off the Enterprise so they can steal it. And so Jenna is sent to engineering. Yeah, she's a lieutenant commander. Yeah, she's a lieutenant commander according to that. I'm sure it is. I'm sure that a thick stripe and a thin stripe, she's a lieutenant commander. But I'm sure they call her lieutenant. I'm sure they've made a mess of these rank stripes. I can't work them out. But anyway, she goes to engineering and she types in some stuff on the console. And she simulates a warp core breach. So all the alarms go off. And there we go. And this is Commander Pellier, who's obviously doing her rounds. Carol Kane, not the best pause there, was it? That's better. Always, you know, pause face, isn't it? Like, ooh. And let me have a drinky. And I'm not sure about this character, Commander Pellier. We learn she's not human. That's first up. She's got a horrible accent. Second up, she basically, I think she's using the same accent she used when she played, Carol Kane played Penguin's mother in the series Gotham. I'm sure it's the same accent, like kind of like a thick, Russian-y, Eastern European style accent. So, and sometimes it's tricky to understand what she's saying. And I must admit, I've got to say that without digging a hole for myself, I struggle to understand what Dr. Mabenga's saying. I've got to put the subtitles on. Sorry, I'm sure that everybody's the same with me and my, stupid Yorkshire accent. Anyway. But anyway, she gives a little smile when she hears the alarms going off. So she goes to the bridge, and as you can see, she's a cheeky character. I can't remember the race she is. It says, you are such and such. And apparently she's really old. And this race of people lived among humans on Earth until, they were discovered in the 22nd century. So I'm wondering, because she says here, she's happy to be on board the Enterprise doing all this. And she knows it's a ruse because, she must have done it before or encountered it before where you simulate a warp core breach. But she wants to join in, basically. She wants to, get in on the action because, as we learn at the end, she's bored because she's really old. And but she must have been in Starfleet for a long time. And we learn that her people were discovered in the 22nd century. So I'm wondering, was she on board one of the old NX-class ships? Because she says she hasn't, gone out into space, with her engines or whatever, for 100 years, which is the timeline of Star Trek Enterprise, isn't it? Anyway, so I presume the rest of the engineering crew have departed because of this warp core breach. She wants to be in on it. They're all like, she says, Spock says, what are you inferring? When she says, it's all a ruse. She says, I'm not inferring anything. I'm telling you, you'd only do this if you're going to steal the Enterprise. And basically, and she says, I'm in. I want to join in. Basically, so off they go. It's all jolly good fun. In a minute, so they carry on with the ruse. And obviously the Admiral and Space Doc tell them to get the Enterprise away because they think the warp core is going to breach. Get the Enterprise away from Starbase 1. So that's what they do. You can see here the Enterprise backs out from beep, beep, beep. Starship reversing. And off it goes out into space. By the way, she suggests that they start venting, warp plasma from one of the nacelles to make it look as though it's really going to have a warp core breach. So off they go, and they're going to head for this planet. Can't remember what it's called. Sorry. On the edge of Klingon space. So, and it's all jolly good fun. Oh, yes. And as they're going to go to warp, this is where Melissa Ortegas asks him what his his thing is, and they say Captain Pike says hit it, and who else do they do? I think Ortega says, well, hers is if she ever sits in the chair, it's going to be vamoose. And they say another one as well, but I can't remember what it is. So he's got to make up his own, let's go to warp thing, and this is where he does his I want the ship to go now. And it's amusing, it's fun. It's fun. So here we go. There he is, I want to go now. The ship, by the way. And off it goes into warp with a different view as what we used to, a front view. There we go. As it goes into warp. I still don't like that warp. I still don't like it. I prefer the TNG style, Bermuda warp with just the stars streaking by. Not this hyperspace stuff. Right, so we arrive at this planet. I wish I could remember what it was called. Never mind. It's got a C in it. I'm sure it begins with C. Probably wrong. Anyway, it's here. And I'm presuming all this is because it's like been heavily mined for dilithium. I'm guessing. It's why there's all these, peaks and all this stuff going on. Could be wrong. So, we fancy for some sort of marketplace style thing, and we learn that there's Klingons. Some of them look really good. I mean, he looks more like a Moclan, doesn't he, from the Orville than the Klingon, but never mind. He's having a drinking game. This is a bit like not Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark. It is Indiana Jones, but you know what I mean. Raiders of the Lost Ark. So he's having a drinking game with, there she is, with La'an. She's here, the lovely La'an, played by Christina Chong. Having a drinking game, drinking blood wine, and he says, it's your turn. So she drinks her stuff, and I'm guessing she's one cup ahead of him. He's got to match her now, so I'm guessing she drinks this, and she's one flagon, whatever the hell you call it, tankard ahead of this Klingon. Oh, crikey! And she drinks it, and she puts the cup down. She says, "Oh, is it watered down?" So he's got to drink his, to match her, and he starts drinking, and it's all going down his beard. And she says, "Stop trying to hide the wine in your beard." I'm presuming it's Klingon blood wine. You think, Klingons would be drinking ale or something like that, wouldn't you? Manly, drink beer, things like not wine. Wine's for women, innit? Anyway. But he can't hold his grog, so he throws up. We don't see it, we just see him go, so he lean over. So she wins. And then a Klingon woman sits down with the worst Klingon forehead I've ever seen in my life. It looks bloody awful. See if we can... I mean, that one's not much better, is it? Some of these Klingon foreheads are terrible. I'm sorry. Worse. I mean, it could be argued it's worse than the Klingons in Discovery. It could be argued. I mean, the face is better, but the forehead looks awful. It looks like... It looks like one of those... enemy mines, Zerky proof, them things that they make the creatures have on enemy mine, that they use the shells to protect them from meteorites. Looks like one of those. A carapace. Anyway. She meets with her, and money exchanges hands. And she wants a meeting with somebody. We learn that on this planet... like a syndicate has arisen, called the Broken Circle, of like Klingons and other races, and presumably also, Federation people. And basically, they want the war to start again, because it was good for business. That's one of the Ferengi rules of acquisition, but we don't know about the Ferengi yet. But even though they appeared in Enterprise, but never mind. They want the war to start again because it's good for business. They can charge a lot for the dilithium that's mined on this planet. And so she wants a meeting with one of the syndicate leaders. So that's what that Klingon woman's arranging. Then she sees Dr. Mabenga. So obviously the Enterprise has arrived. So they go for a meet. She goes to meet the others. And she says, "Oh, thanks for coming." Tells them what's going on. These people are wanting to start the war again, so they've got to stop what they're doing, and obviously the plan, that whatever it is that is in motion, is it's going to happen in a few days. You don't know exactly when, but it's going to happen in a few days. So that's so they've got to stop it, whatever it is. So what they're going to do is Mabenga and Chapel are going to go to the camp and help people. They've brought some medical supplies. Apparently there's a lot of radiation poisoning and stuff, a certain form of it, that Mabenga says that doesn't usually happen with dilithium. It's more from photon torpedoes. So obviously a lot of these people have been handling photon torpedoes that must be leaking. I don't know. But they have to go and help these people. So that's what they're going to do. And Spock and Uhura are going to go with La'an to this meeting and skulk about and not be seen, but get more information. La'an, she notes that Uhura is now Ensign Uhura, not cadet, and she says, "Ooh, that's new." And Uhura says, "Well, if you leave, you miss things." So there we go. Right, so here we are. Christine and Mabenga are at this camp. Obviously, it's it's all dilapidated. It's supposed to be the 23rd century, weren't it? All snazzy and ace. I suppose even in the 23rd century, there's shanty towns. Anyway, they're going helping out. They find this young girl that they saved from the Gorn colony. Her parents are here, and I rolled my eyes at this, but I'm not really that bothered. But I did roll my eyes a bit. We find out her parents, as we'll see. My parents are over here. One of her parents is ill. We're going to show them. There we go. Both of her parents are women. Oh, dear. I did roll my eyes, of course. But, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't affect the story at all. But, they had to have it in, didn't they? But I suppose fair enough. I suppose we're bound to encounter them. Just don't overdo it. Don't overdo it. And it doesn't affect the story. Right, as you can see, they're looking at somebody approaching. And it's some Klingons. So they're approaching, and they draw the weapons on them. Gone too far, obviously. Oh, for God's sake! They draw the weapons on them. They said, they want them to come and help their people. They're going to show us. Oh, for crying out loud! There we go. Oh God, we got there finally, and. She wants them to go and help their people. So, at gunpoint. These are obviously representatives of the Broken Circle. So off they go. Then there's a passage of time. Night falls. And here we see Spock and Uhura. They're waiting for La'an to go to her meeting. And start using a tricord, she's scanning and listening to the Klingon voices. And she says it's a peculiar dialect, but, I think it can pick up the syntax and stuff. Because remember, Uhura in this can speak 80 gazillion languages. She couldn't speak Klingon in Star Trek 4, obviously. Star Trek 6, obviously, but never mind. But there could be an answer to that. Last night, on Netflix, you can get the classic Star Trek on Netflix in the UK. I watched an original series episode. It just happened to be that one. It was The Changeling. Remember the one that were basically adapted into Star Trek the motion picture with Nomad instead of V'Ger. And in that episode, Nomad wipes Uhura's memory. She has no memory at all. And he can't give her her memories back because the memories were erased. And in that episode, they have to re-educate Uhura. And they do it really quickly. Shows her like just learning how to read, and then by the next week she's fine, everything's back to normal. But maybe they didn't teach her how to speak Klingon again in that episode. Headcanon, right? So they're listening to them, and they're learning that something's going to happen, soon. Then there are more Klingons with weird foreheads. They're not. It's not Michael Westmore Klingons, are they? Obviously. Yes, it's better than the Discovery ones, but I'm still not happy with them, to be honest. But they are more akin, to me, to the Klingons that we see in Star Trek Into Darkness. If they had nose rings and stuff and all that. But anyway, never mind. Can't have everything. I'm not moaning. Right, so she has this meeting. It's buying weapons from her. She opens a box and it's got some Federation phasers in. It says, what the Klingons want with Federation phasers, haven't you got your own weapons? So that's not for you to know. So anyway, so she doubles the price. There's La'an. He says he wanted more. We asked for more, and she says, well, this is all I could get, and I'm doubling the price. And she stands her ground, and he eventually agrees. But he says, I want more. She says, well, I'll have to see what I can do. So there we go. Yes, he's going to kill him, but she gets the thing out and goes, I've got this antimatter grenade sort of thing. We'll all die, etc. So turns out that was a ruse. It was just a red light he had. So they've learned that something is going to go on. They call the transporter chief. I think it's Chief J or something, J somebody or other. And I suspect, I could be wrong, I'm rolling my eyes again. But never mind, doesn't matter, it doesn't affect the story. But I'm just pointing it out, because they'll want it to be pointed out, won't they? I suspect this is a non-binary person. I could be wrong, but I suspect it is. But there we go. But basically they can't beam them out because for reasons I can't remember. But they can't beam them out. They can't get a lock. It's lost the lock or something on Mabenga and Christine. You can't beam them out. I think it's because maybe they're underground. I think they've gone underground, so they've lost the lock. So they're in this cavern underground, and they find out what the broken circle's been doing. There they are. They're building a starship. Not just any starship. It's described when we see it in space, as we do later on, that it's a Crossfield class. And I thought, are you sure? Because Discovery were a Crossfield class. The USS Wayne and the USS Discovery were both Crossfield classes. And it doesn't look a lot like the Discovery to me. Or does it? I don't know, to be honest. I can't work it out. But anyway, maybe it's a Crossfield class variant. But anyway, that's what they're doing. They're building this starship. Or whatever. I don't know. Does it have a name on it? I can't work it out. I mean, it can't be the Wayne, because the Wayne were destroyed, wasn't it? But anyway, I don't know. So they're doing that. Right, so they get to this. I presume this is on the starship. Obviously, they're using, it's a redressing of the Enterprise sick bay, and there's all these people that are ill. So they're giving them injections and stuff to help them, and all that jazz for the radiation. We're learning here that Chapel and Mabenga have a Klingon war history between them. I don't know if they said at the same time. It seems like they did. I thought the Enterprise was probably on its 5-year mission where the Klingon War was going on. Obviously, they weren't on the Enterprise at the time. Maybe it was Dr. Boyce that were on the Enterprise at that time. I don't know. But we learn that he's obviously having a bit of flashbacks of the Klingon War, the horrors that they had to endure. And she says, the war's over, like they do with Vietnam vets and stuff. He says, no, I'm fine. And then out pops this green liquid. I don't think it's been seen before. They don't explain it. He gets it out, as we see. Let me get there. They've got to go, by the way. They've got to warn that this ship, is armed with photon torpedoes and everything. That they're building this ship, and they realise that the only reason you'd be building a Federation ship in a disputed territory, the Klingons are in charge at the moment, is to restart the war. And obviously, that's what I've said. That's what's going to happen. This ship is going to appear, attack, the Klingon ship, and start the war again. It's a false flag, and Spock says that later on. It's a false flag attack. So they've got to somehow get to the bridge, to the comms, and she says, they're not exactly going to let us get up there. So out it comes with this green stuff, which I don't think we've seen. I could be wrong, but she says, do you ever not carry that? So I'm presuming he used it in the Klingon War, and it's kind of a super soldier serum. So they all become like Captain America for a while. Super strong and resilient. And you get the feeling he's used it before. I don't think I've seen it in season 1, so I'm guessing we may learn more about this as the season progresses. I don't know, but they inject themselves with it, this stuff. It just kind of come out of nowhere, and I was a bit confused by it, to be honest. And but they inject themselves. Look at, she's gorgeous, isn't she? I'm sorry, I can't help myself. I am totally enamoured with Jess Bush, but there you go. She takes the stuff and her eyes go weird, and Mabenga's eyes go weird as well. And so off they go. They're now super strong for a while. So they go and beat up some Klingons. Here we go. So we have a lengthy fight scene. Maybe it goes on a little bit too long, but it's fine. People be arguing, well, a little scrawny 100-pound woman, beating up all these big burly Klingons. Remember, she's got a super serum in her. So shut your gobs. There she is. I'd let her beat me up any day of the week. So anyway, they get a Klingon. They're pumping for information, and he says, I'm not going to tell you anything. So Mabenga basically tortures him, beats him up more, and threatens to kill him. And actually, Chapel stops him. He says he can't tell you anything if he's dead. Or maybe it's a bit of a good cop, bad cop thing going on. Don't know. But he does tell them eventually. He tells them, that there's so many Klingons on board, about 30, I think he says, you know, with some on the bridge and all that. So, and that's learn from him, and he knocks him out. And anyway, they've got to learn. Oh, he asks if there's a transponder on board. It's on deck 13. I think he says 13. So to get the transponder, because they're going to use it, because obviously the transponder sends out a signal identifying, you know, what ship it is and all that, and you know, a friend or foe and all that sort of stuff. But it can also be reprogrammed and, you know, rejigged to send a message. So that's what M'Benga's going to do. So he's not only a doctor, he's a you know, an engineer as well. So while he's working away reprogramming the transponder, some Klingons arrive. We hear shouting and bawling. So obviously they find the ones that they've knocked out. I don't know if they kill any of them. We don't see them shooting anybody or breaking necks or anything like that. I think they just knocked them out. But while he's doing this, she's got to keep these Klingons distracted. So she has a bit of a fight with them. But more keep coming. Not just Klingons, you know, others as well. You know, the Broken Circle. It's a multiracial organisation. So she's fighting those. M'Benga's still reprogramming the transponder. But he ends up, he has to fight as well. But they basically get overpowered. But he's done the transponder. It's sending the signal. But they start fighting again. And they basically make a run for it in the end. They get overpowered, but they do start fighting again. Before the serum wears off, I think she says, I think it's wearing off. And they get through a door, and she closes the airlock. They get into the airlock, and she closes the door. She hot wires it shut. And obviously, so it's locked. They can't get through. They'll have to cut the way through or blow it open. Let me go back a bit. Sorry, I thought that fella there, to be honest, I thought, is that Chakotay? But, you know, it's not. I know it's not. It looks a bit like him, though, under the hairline. Anyway, so they're trapped in the airlock, and then the ship starts moving about. So basically, the ship's taking off. It looks out the window, because they were working out how to open the airlock, but too late now, the ship's taking off. And then a Klingon D7, a new sort of D7. It's not like the ones we saw in the original series, but you know, it still looks cool. Arrives at the planet, and see, that's a wallpaper for you, isn't it, for your computer? I mean, that looks pretty good, doesn't it? I think it does anyway. So that arrives, and then we see where the Enterprise is. It's in this sort of like debris field. No idea what it's supposed to be.
Klingon back.
Is it like red ice or something like that? I don't know. And apparently there's a lot of iron in it. Maybe that's why it's red. Maybe it's rusty debris. And she says, you know, the Enterprise just looks like, you know, lots of, you know, the stuff that's floating about in there. So they're hidden for the time being. But then they see this other ship come out of the atmosphere. It leaves the atmosphere. They get in touch with La'an, and she's saying, you know, something's going on. But she doesn't know what. And then as she's talking, there we go, the ship bursts out of the ground and heads off into space. I don't like seeing that, to be honest. Don't like seeing that. I know Voyager could land, but you know, that was in the 24th century, wasn't it? The back end of the 24th century, over 100 years after this. I don't like to see these sort of ships taking off from the ground and flying away. It's not a shuttle, is it? It's a big starship. It's got at least 13 decks. Probably more. Anyway, off it goes, up into the clouds. We see a nice thingy. There's the Klingon battle cruiser. And there's the... Kajitar 4, that's the name of the planet. There's the Federation ship. It gives us an NCC there, I think. I can't make it out. Is it 1279? Something like that. But it doesn't tell us what ship it is. It's got a registry number, but no ship name. So I wonder why. Anyway, there's the Enterprise in this ring of debris that's going around the planet. I don't know what all this represents. But anyway, trajectories and stuff. So they've got to get to that before the Klingons pick it up. So anyway, this is where Jenna says it looks like a crossfield class. I'm thinking, no, it don't. It looks nothing like Discovery. Anyway, maybe it's a crossfield variant. There we see Chapel and Mabenga. They're trapped in space, in the airlock, in space now. They've got to try. They're looking for environment suits, pressure suits, whatever, to put on. But they can't find any. All they find is a helmet and a manoeuvring thing. Probably it's got jets on and stuff. That's all that they can find. So he says, we'll have to basically risk it. We can use the helmet. Will have a beacon in it, like a transponder, basically, a beacon in it. That they activate that, the Enterprise will be able to find them and beam them on board, and can use the jets on the booster pack or whatever he's got to move them away from the ship before the Enterprise destroys it, because the Enterprise got to destroy it to stop a war. So they're closing on this mystery ship that has no name but has a registry. And they're in range, and it opens fire. There's another view of it. Look, it's nothing like a crossfield class, is it? It looks more like a Reliant, doesn't it, to be honest? But anyway, maybe it's a crossfield refit. Anyway, it opens fire on the Enterprise. It's shooting phasers and photon torpedoes and the whole job lot. Oh, I forgot to notice. Was it firing beam phasers or pew-pews? Let's have a look. Pew-pews by the looks of it. Yeah, pew-pew phasers. Look, pew-pew. I think. Yeah. Boo! That's why it's a baddie ship. But the Enterprise is not firing back just yet for some reason. I don't know why. I think Ortegas has got a hands full manoeuvring the Enterprise through all the debris. This is where they find out they've got to basically risk it in open space. We saw this in the trailer, didn't we, where we saw somebody go out of an airlock. It's these two. They've got to get this ship before the Klingons pick it up on their sensors. So they're getting ready for that. Off they go. Spock, his emotions are coming to the surface again. He knows Chapel and Mabenga probably, but it's more Chapel for him. He's on board that ship. Probably, he thinks they probably are, and because the message came from them. They picked up the transponder signal that Mabenga had sent, and he said, "Enterprise, destroy this ship." So it must have been from Mabenga and Chapel, because only they knew the Enterprise was there. Blah blah blah. It could have been from La'an for all he knew, but anyway. Oh no, they spoke to La'an on the surface, hadn't they? So there they are, floating away in space. Mabenga says, we'll be fine, not be fine, but we won't die instantly. We'll pass out within 15 seconds and all that. But if they find us and beams aboard, we can survive. There we go. And the Enterprise opens fire on the whatever ship it is. It looks like the Discovery there, doesn't it, with the gap, but the rest of it didn't. So there you go, off it goes, blows up. Somewhere in there is Mabenga and Chapel. But then it goes, blowing up. Very nice, cool effects. I thought a planet were blowing up in the background there. not quite. I think it's just that debris field, isn't it? So they've destroyed that ship, but the Klingons are thinking, there we go. There we go. The beam. They pick up the beacon and the beam Chapel and Mabenga back on board. There we go. Spock rushes down to the transporter room, and he's distraught. He's trying his best to keep his emotions in check because he's not breathing, so he's giving her CPR. But now he's got to deal with the Klingons. There we go. This is the fella. Is this Martok? Is this I forgot his name? J.G. Hertzler. Is this J.G. Hertzler? I don't know. I don't think he was credited. I mean, it might not be him. I don't know. But he just reminds me of him. And I'm thinking, are they going to say, I am Captain Martok of the House of Martok and all that? But I don't know. Maybe. I think it could be. I don't know. Anyway, I don't think he was credited. And I don't know if he gives his name. I don't think he even says like Klingon Captain or whatever. I don't think it says. We'll have a look. We'll have a look when we get to the credits. But I missed it first time round, so... Anyway, he's here saying, what you're doing, this Klingon space, this is an act of war, blah, blah, blah. And Spock, tells him what's happened. We have... This ship was going to, start a war. We have stopped it, blah, blah, blah. We need to talk about it. Let's meet on the surface and drink blood wine. And so that brings him round. So this is where we see from the trailer where we saw him drinking blood wine. So he beams down with them. Oh, and he says, the Klingon says, you are a different kind of Vulcan. And Spock says, yes, it would seem so. He's got a sash. I just noticed he's got a sash like Worf. Very good. Is that the House of Martok or the House of Moog? I don't know where the hell he is. So there we go. You can see it better there, look. Anyway, the beam down. There we go. Here we go. Beam down, drinking blood wine. I bet it's not wine. I bet it's beer. Not wine, is it? I said women drink wine. Men drink beer. They go, should headbutt him and stuff, shouldn't they? So everybody's happy now. It's all, everybody's having fun now. Everybody's friends. Spock saved the day. The Enterprise has saved the galaxy. Commander Pelly is there as well. And she has a little heart-to-heart with Spock. And Spock says, I can't imagine what it's like. And she says, you know what it's like when you live so long. And Spock says, yes, I imagine seeing all your loved ones, die and all that. It must be heartbreaking. And she eventually says, well, yeah, but it's the boredom. So she's bored, basically. And she wants to stay on the Enterprise because she thinks it's an exciting place. So obviously she's going to stick around then for a few episodes. Or maybe for the full season. Until Hemmer comes back from the dead. Fingers crossed. Not going to happen. Or until Scotty arrives. So anyway. So here we go. So everybody's having fun. La'an's saying goodbye to that kid. Who's got a name I don't know. And there they are having more drinks. I don't know what that alien is, what that is, but it's weird. Is it related to Groot? Don't know. But they're all having drinks and stuff. And a jolly good time. Now Spock is answering to Admiral April. And apparently he's got a hangover. And he says to Admiral April, "Can you lower the volume of your voice, Admiral?" And April says, "Have you got a hangover?" And it turns out he has. And Spock's explaining what's been going on. It was a false flag operation that were going on to start a war, and they've saved the galaxy, or the Federation at least. And Robert April said, "We're aware of that. Yes, we know what you've done, but it could have gone the other way, but it didn't." So he's not going to face any charges, but he says, if you do anything like this again, because they basically did steal the Enterprise, if you do anything like this again, it'll be your commission. But he does do it again, doesn't he, in Menagerie, but never mind. Anyway, then he goes to visit Chapel in sickbay, and M'Benga says she's going to be fine, but you can see he's still struggling with his emotions. I don't have a problem with Spock struggling with his emotions, to be honest. Because in the original series, every other episode he struggled with his emotions. Every other episode he was enraged about something or laughing, or there's always something with Spock's emotions going on, wasn't there? I mean, in the first episode aired was the man trap, wasn't it? He was emotional in that when he was telling somebody to kill it, Jim, kill it, and all that. With this salt vampire. I thought, bloody hell, Spock, steady on. But so I don't have a problem with him showing his emotions. I mean, most of the time he's stoic Spock, in control. But he does let them out a little bit at times. But we see he does care about Chapel, and as we can see there, M'Benga's fine. He's obviously recovered, but he says Chapel will be fine. She just needs a little bit of time. So there we go. I think we're near the end now. But there we go. And then he's in his quarters now, playing his Vulcan lyre. You Vulcan liar. Plinky plonking away. All right, yes. And then we cut to, presume it's Starbase 1, all the admirals talking, saying, we're letting him off, basically. But they haven't found out about the other thing that's going on. Because apparently the Gorn are up to no good. As we see, there we go. They cut to a screen. Probable object identification. Gorn attack ship. So the Gorn are up to stuff on the border. So that's what's going to be. That's going to be the overarching storyline for this season, isn't it? The Gorn are up to their tricks. And I don't mind the Gorn being in it either. Yes, we've saw them in arena, and we'd never seen them before, but now we're seeing them. But yeah, it's a canon violation, I suppose. But never mind. Maybe it'll be explained. I mean, how long did it take for the Klingon foreheads to get explained? Why were there no... Well, there could have been, for all I know. I could say, why were there no smooth-headed Klingons on that planet? Maybe there were. Maybe we just didn't realise there were Klingons. So that's the end. And there we go. Oh, a nice little thing at the end. Funny Nichelle, who was the first through the door and showed us the stars, hailing frequencies forever up. Because Nichelle Nichols passed away, didn't she? She's very sad. Right, who we got? Chief J. That's the the non-binary person I suggested might be. I don't know. Noah Lamana. I'll look it up. We'll look it up now, eh? We'll look up Noah Lamana and see if they are non-binary. I know it doesn't matter. I'm just curious. There we go. Because obviously there were a. There we go. Noah Lamana, they, them, is a genderqueer actor based in Toronto. So there we go. Yeah, non-binary, it says there. Yeah, so obviously it looks, like a male, but had the kind of a light voice. I'll say it that way. But I'm not bothered. It doesn't. It didn't affect the story, and they seem to be able to do their job. It's the they thems that does me head in. Anyway. Livian, I don't know. Senior Chief, Lucata, don't know. Inspector, don't know. They are. Oh, Jen was the. Oh no, that's somebody else, isn't it? Let's move on to the next lot if there's any more. Oh no, that's it then. Oh, is that it? Is it? Oh no, there's a more. Look. Grey Nax. I've no idea who these are, 'cause I don't pay much attention. Rawqueg. Klingon extremist Stel. I don't know. They should say like Klingon captain, because I don't know if they ever said his name in it, and I just wanted to know if it was J.G. Ertzler. Maybe not. Let's keep going. No, that's it. So we don't know. I don't know. It probably wasn't. I was just curious. Right. So there we go. So that's where have I put it? It's there. Look. So that's episode 1 of season 2, Broken Circle. Put that back on. Broken Circle. I did enjoy it. I thought it was really, really good. It's not perfect by any sense of the, any stretch of the imagination, but few things are these days. But it's good. I'm enjoying it. I like it. It's good Star Trek for me. I don't know how people are kicking off about it, saying it's garbage. It's trash. No, it isn't. It's entertaining, which the original series was. This original series had more rubbish episodes than good ones, I'll tell you that for nothing. Case in point, the one I mentioned earlier, Changeling. It's classed as a classic episode, not that good. Uhura losing her memories, and they just teach her things again. See her reading, see the dog run. She's like that. She's at that level, but she's back on duty in a week. So, the original series wasn't perfect, and neither is this, but it's entertaining, which is what matters, and I do enjoy watching it. So there we go. So I'm going to give them scores now. I'd give this one, it's a decent episode, 7 out of 10. It's a 7 out of 10 episode. I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was amazing, but I did enjoy it. It was nice to see other starships, that crossfield class, whatever. I don't think it was. It may have been a variant. And the D7, but that looked different as well. I mean, it did the thing with its warp nacelles. They all opened up and moved as though to reveal weapons or something. I don't know, but it was cool. But we never saw that in the original series, did we? But anyway, right, we'll leave it there. So 7 out of 10 for The Broken Circle. Hopefully it'll get better. I've heard people say it does. You know, episode 2 apparently is really good. But I don't know, because Paramount, you don't send me the links for the episodes, you know, for review. And here I am praising you, and you don't send me the links. But you send Robert My Burnett links, don't you? And he bloody hates it. So send me. Anyway, we'll leave it there. So, thanks for watching, wherever you are. Look after each other. And until next time, I will say I should do that really, shouldn't I? Never mind.